Matt the Immortal Brown tied for most finishes, 12 in UFC welterweight history. Contestant on Ultimate Fighter Season 7, dedicated his life to a pursuit of martial arts and fitness. In his early 20s, Matt survived a heroin overdose and many other near-death experiences. All along with the fighting reputation led his friends dubbing him eventually the fighter nickname, the Immortal. Before professionally, Matt was a personal trainer, always had a passion for teaching others. 2018, founded the Immortal Martial Arts Center in Lewis Center, the Immortal Martial Arts Center in Lewis Center, Ohio, where he's the head coach. He continues his martial arts pursuits daily, helps share his knowledge to build better humans. Matt also owns a fitness equipment company, Immortal Combat Equipment. Matt plays the guitar, avid metal fan, devoted family man, father of 3. And I gotta say it, I've been wolfing down his coffee the whole day. If you drink this coffee, you will literally live forever. Not figuratively, you'll literally live forever. Matt, thanks for joining us. I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thanks for having me. Is my video work?
I think it's, let's see. No.
I don't know how to make it work. I don't know what.
Is there the video?
Because the little video button has the option to stop video, but that it doesn't have an option to start it.
Is it possible that it's not facing you?
It's facing me for sure.
Okay. All right. Well, whichever. You could just you could talk.
All right. Well, I gotta make a couple corrections first. I didn't train at Westside Barbell. I train there now, so not past tense. I currently still train there. Actually just got done with the workout this morning. Max effort. Just killer, man. Wore out. So second, not most finishes. I guess most finishes, but the record that I'm about to get is so in the welterweight division I have most. But I'm looking for most knockouts in the UFC, and I'm one knockout away from tying Vitor Belfort for the most knockouts, and that'll be hopefully by the end of this year, but might take till next year. I don't know, getting over some injuries and stuff. So let me see. Somebody just said I could push the stop and start or something. Stop and start. Okay, it's not going to work. All right, just try it. Yeah, it's just not working. All right, and yeah, thanks for the shout out for the Immortal Coffee. That's one of my newer ventures, along with the gym. It won't make you immortal, but it'll make you feel immortal, and that's what it's all about. Excuse me. All right, so first off, I want to say I'm honored to be here. I'm very thankful for all you guys inviting me on. What a hell of a panel you guys have, and to be listed alongside some of these greats, man, is a real honor for me. It makes me feel great. Must be doing something right, I guess. A little bit more on my backstory first. I come from a very small town, and that was kind of, I guess, what got me into the drugs and alcohol. Is I always wanted something bigger, but was kind of disappointed, depressed, and never felt like I was going to get out of there. So ended up doing a lot of drugs and alcohol. But I did it, relentlessly, just like everything that I've done in my whole life. I've done it relentlessly. And that's what I want to talk about today, is a little bit about how to be more relentless. And I've kind of created my own little system. At this point in my life, I'm training a lot of fighters and working with a lot of other athletes. And one of the things I'm trying to teach them is how to relentlessly attack, whether it's their sport, whether it's fighting, or whether it's life in general, right? Or if you're building a business, if you're whatever you're doing, I believe in attacking it with everything you got, full aggression and 100% focus. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that we see today with these up and coming guys. I think that's one of the bigger mistakes you see with a lot of guys that even that are really good, but just don't make it all the way. Their focus isn't necessarily in the right spot, and they're not attacking full on relentless, one singular item. And even, well, I won't get into that, but so, I would say that's something I'm kind of known for. Over time, over the past few years, I've kind of put together how a system of how I can help others become more relentless and more aggressive towards building their own goals. So, but through working with the winning mindset guys, the martial arts mindset, Mike Moore specifically, um, I've learned a lot of things. So I put that together in a lot of ways with some of the other things that I've learned through reading books. So everything that I tell you today is everything will be stolen, but it's all, collaborated together into my own little thing. I guess everything's stolen, right? Like that's what we say when we're playing guitar. We're like, we're all just sharing the notes and sharing the riffs and everything like that. And it's the same in martial arts or wrestling, right? We're all just sharing the same techniques, just, one person gets a little better at one than another. So the system is the same thing. Probably the number one thing I would say that I've learned overall from the martial arts mindset from Mike was all about the clarity. And he sent me the quote, clarity breeds aggression. And that's what really struck a chord with me. And when I look at my best performances, when I look at others' best performances, you can see the clarity. I always use Jordan Burroughs as the example. It's very clear before he goes out there what he's going to do. For a fact he's 99% of the time he's going to look to try to double leg you. He's going to find a way to do that. He's very clear on what he wants to do. How he's going to do it isn't always so clear, but what he's going to ultimately look to accomplish is very clear. And my best performances, my best businesses, my best performances in life in general, best with my kids, best with relationships and everything is when I have clarity. So that, again, that struck a chord with me. And that is the first step, is creating a clear vision of what the end goal is going to be. And I don't necessarily like to talk too much about setting goals, because that's sort of everybody really likes to oversimplify that, and they like to talk about, you need to set goals, but there's lots and lots of details to goals, right? Like everybody wants to say, I want to be champion. Okay, well, how are you going to be champion? Because now you have to build some goals to become champion. In my sport, that would not only include the goal of winning certain fights, but you're probably going to have to market yourself a certain way. So you have to set goals in your marketing. You're going to have to set goals in your fights. And then, each fight, you got to set a goal in that too, and so it just becomes more and more micro all the time, all the way down to, what's the goal for the next hour or the next training session going to look like. So I think that's and I'm getting a little off track here, but that's something that's a lot more comprehensive than I think people give credit to. So I don't want to get into that too much, but the first step is always have a specific vision of what you want it to look like and some goals to get there. The second step is to have a diversified attack to get there, not having one singular path or, one singular way to get there. There's always roadblocks in the path. I always look at it like, where if it's like a GPS, we put in the goal of where we want to get, but then GPS may give us options, and one option may be better than another on a different day. If we're looking at something simple, like where, say passing someone's guard, right? We got to have the same thing. We know where we want to get. We know exactly want to get to side mount, chest on chest. We can't just go for knee slices the whole time. The guy's going to figure it out, and it's going to be, we're just going to get stuck in sort of a stalemate. So we need to, have some feints. We have to maybe move around to the other side, all these different things. So the goals and the vision is first, the diversified attack is second, and third is a commitment to it. the commitment, I think, is where people usually fail. That's what I see is usually the biggest problem from everything that, just when I work with a lot of fighters and I'm around, other high level athletes, even the really high level guys, I see this failure all the time. And the reason, a lot of people talk about my toughness and how I'm mentally tough and all these kind of stuff. And I try to explain to people, I'm really not any mentally tougher than anyone else. I've just made a commitment. I made a choice. I see my buddy Dustin Myers joined in, and he could relate to this, right? We go down to the stairs, and we do these stair sprints. Dustin's been there a few times with me. That's what brought it to mind. We go do these stair sprints, and you see people fail sometimes on number 10, sometimes number 9, 12, whatever. The reason that I have never once failed is not because I'm mentally tougher. It's not because my legs are stronger. It's because I made a choice and I made a commitment when I was at the bottom of the stairs that I'm going to get to the top, and I will literally die if that's what it takes to get to the top of those stairs. And that's really all it takes. I mean, I could tell a few stories about, me and Dustin doing some stuff like that where you feel like you might die, but you have to be willing to do that. And making that choice, making that commitment is, I think, really where people fail. Most people have a goal in mind, and most people kind of have some ideas of how they want to get there. But most people don't make the true commitment to that. And it's not as simple as people make it out to be. All it really is a choice. And that's what, again, where people fail. They simply didn't make that choice. They didn't decide. We seen just a few weeks ago, a guy quit on the stool in the UFC cage. There was a lot of debate online about it, whether his corner should have thrown in the towel, this and that. Some people called him soft and all this. He may not even be a soft guy. I mean, he's probably a tough kid. He probably deserved to be there. He had some skills. But what he failed to do before the fight was make a choice that he was willing to suffer through any amount of pain to get there. Right. And, most people, including me, think that, he still had a chance to win that fight, but he hadn't made the choice beforehand. I got to think he probably gave himself a plan B. He gave himself an out beforehand. And that's another piece of the puzzle that I preach to my guys all the time when they come in and they tell me they want to be fighters. I get it all the time in my gym, these amateur guys and, these first timers or rookies or, this and that. The guys come in, they say they want to be fighters, but they have a plan B also. They have a regular job. They have, and I understand people have to pay rent, but, when they use that job as a crutch or they use, whatever, they have a plan B. I just call it plan bitch now. And that's really what it is. If you have a plan B, you already gave yourself an out. When times get tough, you're going to accept the plan B. That's the only reason, in my opinion, that I really succeeded was I never gave myself a plan B. I wasn't a crazy athlete. I wasn't, nobody special. I mean, I didn't even start training till I was like 22, 23 years old. I didn't have an athletic background. I didn't have wrestling or anything like that. I didn't have any skills to bring to the table, but I made a choice that I was going to devote my life to this. And then I made it, and I didn't give myself an out. I didn't give myself a second chance. I decided one day that this is all I was going to do. And if I didn't do it, then I was going to die trying. And I think it at that point it became really simple. And I also believe that that's the key really to my own success. And, hopefully I can, motivate some other people to kind of use that same mentality, and they can relentlessly attack their goals that same way. Stop giving yourselves out. Stop giving yourselves a plan B. Stop giving yourself a way to not succeed. And that'll start filtering over into other things, and that'll start filtering over into your training, and then you'll start doing everything.
No, I mean,
So yeah, so that's that's the main thing I kind of want to get across, right? Is that I kind of built a little system for my specific way to be aggressive, and that's have a clear vision with goals, a diversified way to get there, and a strong commitment to that choice. I believe if we accomplish those three things, put those things on paper, have those things deeply ingrained in our minds, then everybody will get a lot better.
That's awesome stuff. I really appreciate it, Matt. Like I said, I've been pounding your coffee the whole day. In fact, this is my last cup that I'm going to have on the day. It's starting to get late. It's good. It's good coffee. And thank you for the coffee and the shirts. I really appreciate it.
All right. No problem. Anytime.
Excellent. Great stuff. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
All right. Is there a question?
Yes. Where do we send people and the questions? That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, you send people. TheImmortalCoffee.com is for the coffee. TheImmortalArmy.com for any apparel stuff. ImmortalMartialArtsCenter.com for the gym. I actually don't do the fitness equipment anymore. Titan Fitness stole my designs. They're making them, selling them for as much as I was making them for. So, everything kind of fell off with that. Maybe, I heard they're getting sued by Rogue, so maybe I'll get lucky there and they'll go under and maybe start back up again. I don't know. But that was a real fun business, and but it was never, to be clear, it was never really intended to be a business. It was more intended to be a fun hobby, and I learned a lot about business along the way. So now, yeah, love that.
Yes, you have some questions. Have at it.
Yeah, fire away.
Okay, so we got.
Do I look at it?
Either way.
Okay.
You
Cool.
see Q&A. Mike Moore writes, Matt, you talk about going into the cage willing to die, and that has helped you surrender to the outcome before fights. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's interesting because we say we're willing to die, but that's not really the truth, right? I don't think anybody's truly willing to die. Maybe some crazy guys are, but like in a literal sense, right? Like it's not like a truthful thing. I mean, guys tap out to arm bars and chokes. I mean, if you're willing to die, why'd you tap out to the arm bar, right? But the way that I go in is I'm thinking, I go ahead and imagine in my mind that I'm going to die when I'm in there. So before the fight even starts, it's called a paradoxical intention. And I learned this from, I can't remember the name of the book. Like I said, I steal everything, but it's called paradoxical intention, right? So for instance, like if you can't sleep at night, you just try to stay up as long as you can, right? Like lay down and just try to stay awake, and you end up falling asleep. It's kind of a weird thing, but what it does is it releases all the inhibitions. So when I go in there, I just go ahead and expect that I'm going to die. And then it makes me more willing to die, closer to that. Again, I don't think most, including myself, would actually, like if they said, hey, you have 100% chance of winning this fight, but you're also 100% going to die when you walk out of there. I got kids. I wouldn't do that. So I don't think people truly would do that most of the time. But with the thought in my mind of, this is the end and I will die, it releases a lot of inhibitions. And, it really, it's taken a toll on a lot of my relationships, because every time I have a fight, I don't plan on the next day. I won't plan. They say, you want to, hey, let's go on vacation the week after. And I say, I can't plan a vacation. I'm not going to be here. This is it. Let's plan an after party. I never had an after party because I was like, look, this is the end of my life right here. This is the end. So it helps me to focus on that. It helps me to, release again, any inhibitions for it. I seen a question here too, where a guy asked about squatting every day. I thought that was pretty interesting question.
I feel like when I asked Louis Simmons about that a while ago, I interviewed him, and he was saying that there's actually very few barbell movements he'd have a fighter or a wrestler, a mixed martial artist do. I know we have Dustin Myers coming on. He'll talk about that too, but what's your take on that?
No, we definitely do barbell movements. I don't know when you talked to Louis about that, but
I meant like bench, squatting, and deadlifting.
Oh, we do all three. Again, I don't know when you talk to Louis about that. Yeah, that's one of the beautiful things about Louis. He is always evolving too. The answer he gives you today may not be the answer he gives you tomorrow. He's learning all the time. And
2013, 2014, probably.
Okay, yeah. So that was right around the time I started going there. So he worked with some other fighters before, but I was the first one that was dedicated, committed to Westside. I was there constantly, and our workouts have changed dramatically since we first went there. And at this stage, yeah, we are doing benching, squatting. When a guy talked about squatting every day, I actually did what's called the Smolov routine, where you do squat 4 times a week. I did the Smolov Junior, which is 3 weeks. The actual Smolov is 13 weeks. And it actually helped me tremendously, helped my joints tremendously. And, he talked about being bad for your joints. Well, I mean, if you do anything wrong, it's bad for your joints. If you do it right, it can be good for your joints. And, you do too much of anything for too long, it's going to be bad for your joints. But, but we squat all the time. I just squatted yesterday and benched, or not yesterday, Tuesday, and then I benched today. So the purpose of what we're doing, like right now I'm in off season. I'm actually about to go to surgery next week. So I'm kind of building, my off season schedule the best that I can right now. And what we do in the off season is we focus on building our base, our posture, and our structure better. Right. And barbell movements are great for all 3 of those. I want to build a stronger a foundation, and bench, squat, deadlift are all great for that.
Yeah, I was over at Westside actually in December. It was. I was hoping I was going to see you there, and I talked to Tom for a while. I talked to him. I saw Louis. I was able to give him my book and everything, so it was pretty cool. Does Tom usually take you more through the workouts, or is it more Louis?
No. Louis older, and so yeah, Tom's the man. He kind of runs Westside. Louis there a lot, and he's there. He gives us a lot of motivation, and he'll watch our workouts, and sometimes he's kind of more the general, but Tom is the what we say, like, platoon leader on the ground with us, and putting us through the grinder.
That's awesome. And last question here, Dave, what are how does your wrestling complement your BJJ and vice versa?
My God, man, nothing has helped me more than wrestling in my entire career. I'm still practicing it all the time. That was one of the great things about coming back to Ohio. We have some of the best wrestling in the country here. I'm going to get in a wrestling workout tonight, actually. My dude, Josh Demas, we'll have a great time. Again, when I talk about building base, posture, and structure, that's the most important part of any combative sport. Right? Having a strong base, a strong posture, and strong structure. Wrestling builds all 3 better than anything else.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Awesome stuff. Seriously, thank you for everything. Honored to have you on, and great to virtually meet you.
Absolutely.
I still got the coffee in here, so you could see this is not. I'm not drinking water and saying that. I got the coffee in there. So Immortal Coffee. Want everyone to go your way. There's a discount code on there. I believe it's Mindset. What's the website again?
TheImmortalCoffee.com.
Excellent. Thank you, Matt. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Look forward to listening to my boy Dustin too.